Under the Bridge. Maybe it's ZZ Top. Maybe it's I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I really don't like wearing this mask more than I have to, but it was a good way to start the video. So I think it's time for a little resurrection, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's bring it home, baby.
So why have we been talking about resurrections for like the last day or so?
Well, because Christmas is coming, and being a good Jew, I think about Jesus on Christmas.
Oh, that makes sense. That does make sense. Christmas is coming. So is winter. Winter is coming too.
Winter is coming. Too bad I'm not a Game of Thrones fan. Otherwise, I'd really understand what that means.
I'm a Game of Thrones fan myself. No, I like Game of Thrones. There's very little where there are that many seasons. I'm just not. I get bored. Like
too much.
After a few seasons of almost anything, like I can deal with 3 seasons if I love it, but beyond that, it usually my attention drifts.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. You know why? Because it's a lot like email marketing.
It can be.
People join your list and maybe they're really excited at first when they opt in, and you have like a 50, 60, 70% converting opt-in page, and gall darn it, people want to get that thing that's on the other side that you're giving away for free, right? And then they get on your list, and especially if it's a brand new business and a brand new list and a brand new niche, where you're building it from scratch, like that list is usually pretty darn responsive, right?
Can be, yeah.
In the early days. But what happens as that list gets older in your experience? What happens as people are on there for days, weeks, months?
I think 2 things end up happening. One is that the natural biorhythms, how you like that? Of
biorhythms.
The natural psychology that people tend to get in heat about certain subjects wears off.
Yeah.
If they're not satiated, then and they're still hot on it, and you're not telling them anything new, like that feeds that oholic desire. What's up, Gene? Then you wind up in a scenario where that they're moving on because you were the flavor of the month, and they either changed their mind or they got out of heat and or went on to something else, or where it's usually very strategic and very clear the first time somebody opts in to your list to begin with, right? And so a lot of thought is given to that landing page to get them, what's going to be your quote unquote ethical bribe, what's going to be your lead magnet that's going to get them to want to get in there, and it works gangbusters, and they get in there, and then what? The next thing that ends up happening, usually for a lot of people, is that they get hammered with one promotion after another, and it doesn't provide them any of that heat that they need, that they want, that they were there for originally. Like, it doesn't enhance any of that, and it doesn't satiate any of it. Doesn't support their desires in any way. So it naturally, and then of course there's all the technical stuff that ends up taking place as well. But
so there's one other thing that happens very commonly now in the marketing niche, the biz op niche, the really aggressive markets that are out there. That's like people are hammered with offer after offer after offer. That's a huge problem. The other side is also true, which is
they don't hear from them again.
They never hear from them because people are afraid to email their list because they don't want unsubscribed. They're like, well, maybe I'll send a newsletter once a week, and that's my email strategy. Right, at best. And that also doesn't build the bond. You forget about them. And so...
Well, and then they don't put any personality into it or any thought beyond that initial conversation, right? I mean, like it's all of a sudden, well, let me put a big-ass picture of myself in the banner in that email going, like a nice 80s pose or whatever, power pose. And, it's just funny. So that's where I'm at with my emails. I want to work on a strategy and messaging. Stop saying you want to, Gene. You're doing it.
Yeah. So Gene, write an email while you're on this and send it out before we finish the live stream. That is an assignment. You must do it. Do it now. Right now. Write an email, personal email, send it out. And I did see your email the other day, by the way. Kudos. Hopefully you sold some of those for like sandpipers, I think. And so Jean is in the black market bird business. Just kidding. She's not in the black market bird business. She is a artist. She's one of our clients, and she sells her art, both originals and various types of reproductions of her art.
You just freaked her out by putting her on the spot there, dude.
I love putting people on the spot. That's one of the things I do best. So here's the thing. There's another thing that happens, which is age. Okay, is if you've been in in the art of email marketing, we have about 1,500 plus or minus,
yep,
many of which are the smartest email marketers alive on the planet today.
Without a doubt. Yep.
And I'll tell you what, that if you have an email list, if you've been in the game more than a few years, and you have an email list that used to make you bank, that used to make you a lot of money, it was highly engaged. They knew who you were. They would buy your stuff. They'd wait for you to launch something new and then gobble it up. And it was like doing a multi-$100,000, even $1 million launch was like not that big a deal. If you're that person, right, your list probably seems dead right now, because big lists, though some people say big lists are a thing of the past, it's only partially true, right? Only partially true. There are so many different ways.
So what you're saying is that the size of the list is important?
It is important, but not if it's just dead weight. And the problem is, right?
So size is important, or it isn't important?
Size is absolutely important, Joshua. There's no question about this.
I disagree. Being Jewish and all, you know.
Oh, so funny. All right, so that's where I had to go every single time with you. Every single time.
Yep. I'm like Howard Stern, man. What's up, Anthony?
Anthony, it's good to see you. I don't remember what I was saying. What you can pick up that thought if you'd like.
No, but I'll bring you back on course if you like.
Thank you.
You were talking about the size of your list, and like big lists aren't necessarily dead or a thing of the past, but
it's not very uncommon to bump into a veteran digital marketer that's been around for 10 years that has a 100,000 person email list that they haven't mailed in over a year, right? Because they moved on with their thinking, their marketing became more sophisticated, they changed niches. At one point, one of the autoresponder systems they used gave them a warning. It scared the crap out of them, and they got out of the habit of mailing it on a regular basis. All these things happen. And as your list ages, it will become less responsive for lots of reasons. Some of them are technological and some of them are psychological. And in order to perform a proper list resurrection and bring that list back to life, shock that list back to life, you have to use
list CPR.
It's list CPR. You actually have to do a very specific combination of things in the right order in order to really make that happen. And so if you are watching this and you have an email list that used to make you a lot more money than it does today, you know it could be a lot more responsive than it is right now, then type resurrection. You can even spell it wrong. I have numerous times. Type resurrection into the comments and shoot either Joshua or I a private message about list resurrection, and we can chat with you about whether or not your list and your niche and the autoresponder that you're using would be right to go through this little process that we've developed. So if you're interested in really supercharging the responsiveness of your list so that dramatically more people open, dramatically more people click, dramatically more people buy, list resurrection is this combination of methodologies that Joshua and I have discovered over the last cumulative 40 years of our experience in online marketing together. And cool, Anthony, what I think you may have even told us in the past, so pardon my crappy memory, but
what's your list? What's the profile? Yeah, tell us.
What we're not going to get into like how much money you make or anything like that publicly.
No, but just give us a background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. So we're going to bring your list back to life. If you're interested, type resurrection, shoot me or Joshua a private message, and we'll ask you some questions either over Messenger or we'll get on a phone call, whatever works, and talk about what we can do to help you really get a lot more money out of that existing asset. A lot more money out of that existing asset. Huh.
Yeah, and how to build it up over time back to life.
Awesome. Anthony says list resurrection or rock and roll. Cool.
He spelt it right? Yeah.
It's possible. Internet marketing list. Awesome. Yeah, Anthony, shoot me a private message on Facebook and we can either talk later today or tomorrow. I have a couple of time slots, but the afternoon is closing in and I'm going to be hanging out for the afternoon and evening with my kids. So I don't have a lot of time left today. So if you want to chat today, definitely shoot me a message. So did you have something to say?
No.
Oh,
I'm just enjoying the, you thought I was going to say something? No.
Yeah.
I took a deep breath.
I was like, oh, that's the talk signal. No,
that was just me realizing that I hadn't taken a deep breath in a while.
So speaking of like something from the olden days, check this shirt out. This one came out of the archive, and I just love it. 1997. That right there is a college cross country running.
NAIA.
NAIA. I don't even know, something north something. It was a cross country running race. From 1997, I ran in a nationally ranked cross-country running team, Johnson State College, the beginning half of my college career. And this shirt not only still fits me, but like it's not falling apart. This thing was well crafted. This has received thousands of wears over the years. And I just pulled it out of this box of shirts I got out of my attic that had been packed away for a decade. And I'm pleased to announce everything still fits. It's really nice.
I'm not familiar with what Russell's doing with the club these days, and the ex-coaching, so I can't comment on that. I can say, just out of ego, Russell bought the 2 Comma Club from me back in the day, because I actually started the 2 Comma Club in 2006 and ran it for 4 years, or 2005, I forget. Anyway. So it's a love of mine because of where it came from, but Russell took it to a whole new height and level, and what he decided to do with it is really kind of cool.
Cool. Awesome. So, list resurrection. Let's talk a little bit about, I don't want to get into all the techniques that we use, but I would like to talk a little bit about.
I think it also really depends on what the state, we kind of have to dig in and see what the state of the union is, so to speak, for each individual business, and what right. Where they're at, what they're looking to accomplish, that type of thing. But I think we can talk in
what?
Without, go ahead.
I have an idea, Anthony. If you're willing to play ball, I want to ask you some questions, but I'm going to try not to get too personal. And if you're willing to respond publicly the way you are right now, it'd be great. And if there's anything at all that you're not comfortable responding to, just don't.
Yeah, just say
no thanks, or just say,
I'd rather not. Yeah, I'd rather not say.
Yeah. So because we don't want to. So anyway, first question, Anthony, would you be willing to play ball? I want to ask you some questions about your business and your list. I'm not going to ask you about how much money you make, but I would like to ask you some other questions just to get an idea of what you're dealing with. Is that something that you're willing to do right now? Because if it is, it'd be a cool little hot seat experiment, and we could probably help you out right now, if nothing else. I'm going to assume that's a yes. I haven't received a yes yet, but there is a delay. So I guess we'll start with the first question, which is, you said you're in internet marketing. How often do you email your list right now? And
I'd kind of like to know some of the foundational things, like how did you originally build it? what's the approximate size? What was the, your primary methodology of enrolling people on to subscribe to your list to begin with? And what was the most effective for you? And how long ago did that take place? What's the time?
If we just give them one question at a time, well, I'm thinking maybe that would be the way
I didn't mean to. Okay. Just forget everything I just said.
I mean, it's all important, but if we give you 20 questions, but he hasn't even said yes.
Probably what the height was and where was the best and timeline of which it went from wherever to wherever.
Another question that I'll ask, and here's the thing, you might not have answers to all these questions, and that's okay. I'm just giving you like a preview of what it might sound like. Who have you learned email marketing from? Who have been the other influencers on your style and your knowledge of how to do this kind of stuff? We'll want to know your primary traffic source that you used to build the list. Did you build the list? Did you buy the list? Like, how did you acquire the list? Right?
Was it built through paid advertising or through organic stuff or through product launches or joint ventures?
It's like, where did it come from? Then we'll want to talk a little bit about we'll want to look at the landing page. We'll want to look at the most recent or the most significant landing page where people joined your list. Like what did they see on the way in? And so you take all of these different principles, and then we have about a dozen different techniques that we use in order to increase list responsiveness. Some of them take seconds to implement. Like you could implement, we have a handful of them you implement in a 5 to 10 minute long implementation, and it immediately starts giving you a better response. Others take a week or two in order to build out, and some are techniques that even are ongoing and would require a human or an automation in order to run in the background on an ongoing basis. Depending on what you're using for your autoresponder, we might recommend that you switch to a different autoresponder that is perhaps more cost effective and
does some of the things that needs to happen. Yeah.
And so different, and for some people, they're a one man, one woman, one person show. And they can make all the decisions for themselves, and they can make it while we're on a phone call in terms of, I can go get that other autoresponder. Yeah, we can implement that that special auto response technique that you have over here, or we could totally implement, your fictional marketing strategies here, and I can just say yes to that. Other companies are much larger or have more red tape in place, and you need to get authorization from people. And by the way, we prefer working with people who have full control over their email marketing and don't have to go get permission from anyone.
Yeah, don't have to convince a board of anything.
Oh, no. I generally do not take on clients where there are boards involved. Occasionally, but I almost always regret it. There's nothing worse than having a board of people who know nothing about marketing voting in order to decide what should or shouldn't be implemented. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
And it's so common anyway that they do it. It's like so. Yeah.
It's getting a bunch of people who know nothing about the thing to decide which.
Well, and they've been trained that you have to piss on whatever the thing is and figure out why it won't work rather than, like actually trying stuff and seeing what does work in your particular category. It's so funny to me. I can plot out with a stopwatch. All right, 3, 2, 1. They're going to say this is too long. My people are different. This won't even, my people won't even stand still for this. They won't, I can tell you where it's going to happen in the conversation, how it's going to. It's just funny.
That's right. So we like working with. Not necessarily solopreneurs. I like people who have a team, whether it's a small team on salary or whether it's a team of outside contractors, either stateside or in other countries, as long as they're very, very fluent in English. Because I do not speak any other languages and I don't speak English that well to begin with. So so that's basically the process that we go through. And if you're interested in just supercharging the responsiveness of your email list, then we'd love to have a conversation with you about that. If that's something where you can see, I have this asset that if it was mailed more frequently, if we used a different strategy, if we switched to a better autoresponder, if we implemented some more inboxing strategies, if we, adjusted the from email. There are so many different pieces to the puzzle here that we can tweak